What is up, friends? The trailer for Season 4 of Big Mouth has finally dropped, complete with a December 4th release date, less than a month away. So let's break down everything we saw in the trailer and figure out what we can maybe expect to see in the newest season. Spoilers for Seasons 1 through 3 and the Season 4 trailer ahead. So right off the bat, Season 4 seems to mostly take place at summer camp, and in the teaser GIF they posted on social media, we can see that the camp is called Camp Mohegansun. Camp Mohegansun. Personally, I think this is a really smart setting for Big Mouth. I like that time progresses relatively slowly over the course of the series, and for a lot of people, summer camp is a very formative experience in adolescence and through puberty. But it doesn't look like everyone is at camp for the entire season. We see that Coach Steve is now lifeguard Coach Steve, and this pool seems to be back in New York, where the rest of the show takes place. We can see some of the kids and adults at the pool, so this leads me to believe that we'll either be seeing stories split between camp and back home, or part of the season will take place at camp and part will be back home. I personally hope that the entire thing takes place at camp, but I think we're going to see the first half of the season at camp and the second half back home. Back home. I keep saying back home over and over. Oh well, deal with it. We also see some kids at school later in the trailer, so once again leads me to believe that it won't entirely be at camp. Speaking of camp, we've got some great guest stars lined up, including John Oliver playing the camp counselor Harry, and a kid named Seth Goldberg played by Seth Rogen. The name seems to be an obvious mashup of Seth and his writing partner Evan Goldberg. It looks like Nick and Andrew are going to be vying for Seth's friendship throughout camp, which is a great continuation of where Nick and Andrew left off in Season 3, deciding to end their friendship. And it seems like Andrew sort of wins out in this friendship battle, making Nick pretty miserable in the process. He feels like Andrew came to camp and stole his friend, which leads to the introduction of this season's overarching monster, the anxiety mosquito. There are a few reasons that I absolutely love this development. One, I love the monster lore. That is my shit, and it's the thing I like the most about Big Mouth. Two, a mosquito is a perfect embodiment of anxiety, and this is very relatable. And three, in my opinion, the best season of the show is Season 2, which had the Shame Wizard as a very solid through line for the season. And I think Season 3 suffered a bit from not really having a stable presence throughout. So having a persistent monster presence that all of the kids seem to be dealing with, like the Shame Wizard in Season 2, is a very good call. It looks like Jessie is still seeing her therapist, and I'm glad they're continuing that concept as she lays out what anxiety feels like. I'm curious if we'll see any sort of team up or interaction between the anxiety mosquito and the depression kitty. They do sort of go hand in hand, you know? Also, Jay and Lola are apparently hooking up. That's bound to be gross. Allie might have a new love interest based on this brief shot as well. We're apparently getting a musical number where Duke Ellington duets with Rick the Hormone Monster, who is wearing a hot dog suit.
We're all trying to find the guy who did this.
This shot is nightmare-inducing. Andrew is buried in the ground being approached by a bunch of butthole animals. Definitely seems to be a dream sequence of some sort based on the color palette and, well, the situation. We also see a sequence where the anxiety mosquito blows up to kaiju size, and I'm very eager to see this episode. It seems like this could be a major experimental ep like we've gotten previous few seasons. Season 1 did the pornscape, Season 2 entered human resources, and Season 3 gave us the weird superpower episode, although there is another candidate for these weird experimental episodes later in the trailer. The question is the kaiju destruction actually happening, or is it all in Caleb's mind again like the superpowers? The kaiju anxiety mosquito seems to be fighting a giant frog, so I'm eager to see if this is some sort of monster as well. Maybe like a relaxation toad? I don't know. Next we see Lola punch Jay in the face. I think we can assume that relationship doesn't go well, or maybe this is where it starts. They're weird. We also see how anxiety is affecting Matthew, who's anxious about his sexuality and how he might be treated because of it, but we also see that he's getting his own musical number again, which Andrew Rannells, obviously a good choice, and he shares a smooch with his boyfriend Aiden, so that relationship's going to continue as well. One of the most interesting developments is definitely Missy, who seems to be abandoning her overalls thanks to her new hormone mistress Mona. I'm very curious if this will tie into the change in voice actress for Missy. If you're unfamiliar, this will be the final season where Jenny Slate voices Missy. She released a statement earlier in the year saying black characters should be played by black people, and you know what? She's right. I don't want to hear shit if you gotta complain about that. She is right. Slate is also to be replaced by hilarious comedian Io Adebari, but since the season was completed before Slate left the series, Adebari will only be in the final 2 episodes of the season. Apparently there's something that works as a catalyst in story to explain the voice change, and I'm curious if this overall abandonment is a part of that. I was expecting something puberty related for sure, or maybe she'll get her braces off. Very eager to see how they handle it, and I'm stoked to see more from Mona, who we only got for a few episodes last season. She's one of my favorite hormone monsters for sure, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see how she shapes Missy's attitude. Nick seems to have some sort of sequence involving the older version of himself we've seen in dreams/visions, and it definitely appears to go hand in hand with his anxiety, likely about the trajectory of his life into adulthood. Oh, also, it looks like the kids at camp all watch someone or something give birth. I don't even know, man. The final scene in the trailer also showcases some major Mad Max apocalyptic vibes and appears to feature everyone at a much older age. They seem to be at Missy's funeral, and a hologram of Missy is warning everyone that the world is going to end. We also get a few other shots of the apocalypse in this trailer, including one that reveals they're at Missy Foreman Greenwald Memorial Middle School. R.I.P. Missy. The big question will once again be, is this some sort of imaginary scenario played out in Caleb's head, or is it induced by these anxiety mosquitoes, or is this actually a flash forward? I think that Missy's voice in the scene is still Jenny Slate, but if it's Io Debris, then damn, her Missy is spot on. I haven't been able to find confirmation if it's Slate or a Debris, but it still sounds like Slate, which would also mean that this ep isn't in the final 2 of the season, which is a further surprise. Usually these crazier episodes are at the end of the season, and I'm curious if this is the experimental one for the season or if the kaiju looking one is. Maybe both are, who knows, maybe the season's just gonna fly totally off the rails. Overall, I've got a lot of hope for season 4 of Big Mouth. While I enjoyed season 3, it felt like a step down from season 2 for me, which had a unifying idea that worked throughout the season. Season 3 was a little more chaotic, but it appears that anxiety is going to be a big wet blanket over the entire season, the same way shame was in season 2. The stuff with Missy is definitely the most intriguing to me, and I'm so stoked that someone as talented as Io Debris got that role, but I also hope they still utilize Jenny Slate as other characters since she's such a great voice actress. Very interesting to note how little screen time the hormone monsters got in the trailer. We see a little bit of Connie, a solid line from Mona, one shot of Rick, and nothing from Maury. I wonder if they'll take a bit of a backseat to the anxiety mosquito this year, though I wouldn't really count on it. They always show up in a major way. I also can't wait to see if this season expands on the monster lore more than season 3 did, and whether or not this might lay more groundwork for what we might see in the Human Resources spinoff, and it's been well over a year since that was announced, so I wonder how quickly we might see that drop on Netflix. December 4th, can't wait to see what this season brings. The show is renewed through season 6 already, which is a pretty unexpected pickup for a Netflix animated series. I'm really curious if they're going to write the show to complete at 6 seasons, or if they hope to continue after 6. But that's where I want to pass it off to y'all. What struck you most about the trailer? What are you most excited for in season 4? Let me know below in the comments, and of course stay tuned because I'll likely have a few Big Mouth videos in the first couple weeks of December. Peace.
Johnny to Cellos.